Welcome to the HEX Late Show. It's 43 OG with you here on a Tuesday evening. What's up, boys and girls? We're back. We're back for another episode. Let me just grab my Schweppes Blood Orange and Mango Natural Mineral Water. Oh, yeah. Cue the intro.
Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay. What's the second best? There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right? Right? There's no second best. Okay. It's not like.
Man. Thank goodness.
It's good to be back with everyone. Big hello to the crew in the chat. Let me see who's here. We've got Red Squirrel, Hex Enthusiast, Crypto Claz, Ash, Hex Machine, Retro Static, Smog, Darp Cuda. What's going on, boys and girls? What's going on? Thanks for joining me on this Tuesday evening. We have had a great week in crypto, in PulseChain, in HEX. I think the most notable thing that I've seen was, and I know there's always a lot going on. There's always drama. There's always all sorts of stuff going on. The drama, my God, why is there always so much drama? I choose not to pay attention to it. There's plenty of other stuff to pay attention to. And the thing that caught my attention was the, what was this called? On gopulse.com, there's like a, what do they call it? ZKZX. It's a Cornado Tash fork apparently, and it's on PulseChain. So that's the most notable thing in my opinion, because like, what else has been going on? What else has happened in crypto in the last few years that's made big headlines? I think, devs going to jail for, writing code. That's a pretty big deal. So the fact that these guys, deployed the code, it's different. It's on a different blockchain. It's not the same thing. you know, it's a fork, but obviously some changes were made so that it could accommodate Pulse instead of Ethereum. So yeah, interesting stuff. In my opinion, that's the most interesting thing that's happened all week. Okay, so I have something different that we're going to do tonight, and we're going to play a game. And I can only play the game if the people in the chat want to play. Do you guys want to? Do you want to play a game? Yes? No? Maybe? Because I'll need some participation if we're going to play a game. I'll need some people to actually answer. I've got 10 questions. They're multiple choice questions, and you know, if people are interested, we can play that game. Alrighty then. Okay, let's go. Okay then, guys, are we ready? Are we ready? This is called the HEX contract game show.
$355, a difference of $880. You want both showcases at $1 million. You want both showcases at $1 million. $1 million, buddy.
Over $1,300,000,000,300 million.
Okay, there we go. All right, so we've got the HEX contract game show. We've got 10 questions, all right, and they're multiple choice questions, so you'll need to answer with A, B, C, or D. All right, so question number one. And look, for some of you, these are going to be easy, and for some of you, not so easy. But let's go. What is the question number one? Okay, what is what is the primary objective of staking / mining within the smart contract? A, to sell your HEX holdings at an inflated price. B, to secure your HEX assets while receiving yield in terms of HEX. C, to trade your HEX for other cryptocurrencies. And D, to reduce the transparency of transactions within the blockchain. I'll read them again. What is the primary objective of staking mining within the smart contract? A, to sell your HEX holdings at an inflated price. B, to secure your HEX assets while receiving yield in terms of HEX. C, to trade your HEX for other cryptocurrencies. And D, to reduce the transparency of transactions within the blockchain. Now I can see the answers coming through. Very nice. And the answer is, you guys are all, I like that. Bob Lagai. It's B with the side of A. Yes, sir. But yes, the answer is B indeed. It's B. So yes, to secure your HEX assets while receiving yield in terms of HEX. Because we know you stake your HEX, your principal, as long as you fulfill your side of the contract, your principal is safe. And then at the end of the term, as long as you abide by the contract and end stake within 2 weeks, you'll get your principal plus any yield that has accrued in that time. Okay, question 2. Question 2 is, how is a participant's yield determined during the staking / mining process? A, according to the overall trading volume of HEX. B, based on the proportion of shares owned by the participant. C, distributed equally among all participants, irrespective of staking duration. And D, paid out depending on the fluctuations in the global financial markets. So I'll read it again. How is a participant's yield determined during a staking mining process? A, according to the overall trading volume of HEX. B, based on the proportion of the shares owned by the participant. C, distributed equally among all participants, irrespective of staking duration. And D, paid out depending on the fluctuations in the global financial markets. And yes, I can see some B's there. The answer is B, based on the proportion of shares owned by the participant. Now, those first two were easy. I'm not going to say they get, there's a couple of harder ones in here. So, question 3. But I can see so far we've got some smart hexagons in the chat who who know, at least we can say our hexagons know the basics, right? Okay. What factor significantly influences the share price determination when ending a stake? A, weather patterns across different regions around the world. B, quantity of liquid HEX in your address. C, successful completion of online quizzes relevant to crypto knowledge. D, performance metrics like ROI and additional bonuses obtained. I'm not even going to read that one out again. Or maybe I should. A, weather patterns across different regions of the world. B, quantity of liquid HEX in your address. C, successful completion of online quizzes relevant to crypto knowledge. D, performance metrics like ROI and the additional bonuses obtained. Okay, so the answer is D. What factors significantly influence the share price determination when ending a stake? And it's performance metrics like ROI and additional bonuses obtained. Question. So well done, guys. I can see D's all over the shop. John, you wrote down B. Good try. You had a 25% chance of getting that right. Unfortunately, you did not. So I encourage you to try again. Question number 4. Should you decide to emergency end stake prior to fulfilling half of your pledged tenure, what consequence awaits you? A, being awarded bonus points in the next staking cycle. B, receiving HEX tokens courtesy of the contract. C, penalties leading to loss of some or all of your invested capital. Or D, automatic extension of your lock-in period without further notice. Do you know what I really need? I really need some TikTok audio in the background, that tick, 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 tick. So yes, I can see people are answering C. The answer is C, for should you decide to emergency end stake prior to fulfilling half of your pledged tenure, what consequence awaits you? The answer is C, penalties leading to loss of some or all of your invested capital. So it's a contract. The HEX contract is a contract. You need to abide by the contract. You set the terms of your contract. You set the days that you want to fulfill, but you need to stick by it. Otherwise, if you decide to emergency end stake, there are penalties. Specifically, if you decide to emergency end stake prior to fulfilling half of the pledged tenure, you are going to lose some of your principal, if not all of it, depending on how early you do end stake. Question number 5. Who benefits from the increasing share rate mechanism? A, users that enter stakes for longer timeframes. B, early adopters that end their stakes early. C, YouTube influencers seeking greater control over token distribution. Or D, external investors attempting to manipulate the market. I'll read it again. Question number 5. Who benefits from the increasing share rate mechanism? A, users that enter stakes for longer periods of time. B, early adopters that end their stakes early. C, YouTube influencers seeking greater control over token distribution. And D, external investors attempting to manipulate the market. And well done, John Dingo Wolf and Ann Gore and Crypto Class. The answer is A. So who benefits from increasing share rate mechanism? Users that enter stakes for longer periods of time. Okay, so question number 6. So we're halfway, guys. You doing well? I think you're doing well. Only a couple of mistakes so far. So question number 6. State whether the following assertion holds true or false. As 1 second. Sorry, guys. There we go. Okay. State whether the following assertion holds true or false. As fresh participants use the staking function, the share rate increases. A, true. B, false. C, partially correct depending on the moon phases. Or D, contingent on stock exchange indices. I want you to listen to the words, guys. Listen to the words. State whether the following assertion holds true or false. As fresh participants use the staking function, as fresh participants use the staking function, the share rate increases. This is a bit of a, so it's, I guess it's getting a little bit harder now because we're getting a bit of a mixed bag of results. I can see there's a few people who are correct, and the answer is B, it's false. Because the share rate does not change as people stake, it only changes as they end stake. So that assertion is false. Question number 7. Upon successful completion of the staking period, which entity retains ownership of the initially staked HEX tokens? A, the smart contract. B, liquidity providers. C, the original token holder. Or D, mining pool participants. Upon successful completion of the staking period, which entity retains ownership of the initially staked HEX tokens? A, the smart contract. B, liquidity providers. C, original token holders. And D, mining pool participants. And the answer is C, the original token holder. Now, I see what's going on in the chat here. Maybe this question, we need to be more precise, but with the wording here, because I can see you guys saying the smart contract. But the smart contract, we're going to talk about who controls the tokens. Okay, so maybe this question we could have worded a little bit better, with a little bit more clarity. All right, so we'll give everyone a pass on this. Give everyone a pass on this. But yeah, essentially at the end of the staking period, upon successful completion, the original token holder is the one that gets the tokens. That's what we're trying to say here. Question number 8. Identify the fundamental distinction between longer pays better and bigger pays better concepts incorporated in the staking model. A, temporal versus quantitative factors affecting reward rates. B, volatile versus stable staking conditions influencing yield. C, centralized oversight versus decentralized governance structures. And D, both are responsible for promotional campaigns targeting wider audience reach. Identify the fundamental distinctions between longer pays better and bigger pays better concepts incorporated in the staking model. A, temporal versus quantitative factors affecting reward rates. B, volatile versus stable staking conditions influencing yield. C, centralized oversight versus decentralized governance structures. And D, both are responsible for promotional campaigns targeting wider audience reach. Good work, guys. The answer is A, identify the fundamental distinction between longer pays better and bigger pays better, and that is temporal versus quantitative factors affecting reward rates. Let's not get confused by big words. Big words that I struggle to pronounce. Question number 9. Highlight the main disadvantage associated with short duration staking positions. A, increased susceptibility to cyber threats. B, higher probability of encountering technical glitches. C, lower adaptability towards changing market trends. D, more frequent exposure to higher share rates. I'll read it again. Highlight the main disadvantage associated with shorter duration staking positions. A, increased susceptibility to cyber threats. B, higher probability of encountering technical glitches. C, lower adaptability towards changing market trends. D, more frequent exposure to higher share rates. So the answer is D, more frequent exposure. The main disadvantage associated with shorter duration staking positions is that you are going to be exposed to higher share rates on a more frequent basis. Well done, crew. And the last, I can't put my hand up, or you see my my couch. There we go. Question number 10. We've done well. Actually, before we move on, what is everyone at now? You've done 9 questions. You know, this is the we've got the honor code going here. So you just, you know, what are we at? What's everyone at after 9 questions? Have we got them? Has everyone got them right? Has everyone, you know, have you made a mistake? What are we at now? 6, 7, 8, 9? It's 8 for Klaz. Everyone's scrolling back through the chat to see what they answered. I should put on some elevator music while I'm waiting, hey? Where's ambient? Yeah, ambient elevator music. That's what we need. Stephen, can you even hear that? No worries. Let's get on to the last question, the very last question. Okay. So put your thinking hats on. Put your thinking hats on. The daily payout calculation includes A, daily inflation of 0.009955% of the total coin supply. B, daily inflation of 1.23% of the liquid coin supply. C, daily inflation of 3.69% of the total coin supply. Or D, daily inflation of 3.69% of the liquid coin supply. Now, I'm going to read this again. Okay, so before you answer, let me read it again. I want you to think, guys. I'm not, this is not softball. I'm not throwing you, you know, soft. This is like more difficult than you guys are giving it credit for. The daily payout calculation includes A, daily inflation of 0.009955% of the total coin supply. B, daily inflation of 1.23% of the liquid coin supply. C, daily inflation of 3.69% of the total coin supply. And D, daily inflation of 3.69% of the liquid coin supply. I'm going to give you guys some time. Okay. All right. So the answer is A. The daily payout calculation includes a daily inflation of 0.009955% of the total coin supply. So well done to Bob Lagai, the only guy who got it right. So yes, that's the daily figure. That's the daily figure. Yes, but just so you guys know, that figure is in the white paper. That figure is in the white paper, that percentage rate. So yes. So out of everyone, what did everyone get? What what did I see? Crypto Class got 8 out of 10. Did anyone else add up their totals? No one else added up their totals? So Class, at this point, you're looking like a winner. Bob Lagai, I don't know. Did you I don't know when you started. I'm not sure if you got, I think you might have got one wrong, but I can't keep track. You see, I can't do this and that. I can't keep track of who's getting what right. Maybe if I have other people on stream with me at some stage, we can keep track of what's going on. But it's the honor code, so you guys have to tell me. Either way, that's right, Claz. That is right, Claz. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Like chicken tonight, like chicken tonight, chicken tonight.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Well done. So, all right. There we go. What did we think? Is that, did you guys enjoy that? I know there's only like 20 of you listening. Was that worth doing? Well done, Class. Okay. What have we got? You guys know that I'm not like a solo streamer guy. I don't love it. I don't love solo streaming. I'd rather speak to people, right? I'd rather speak to people. But I do have some things lined up. So let's kick off with, let me see, what have I got here? Let me tee up a one of these clips that I've got. I've got a few clips, you see. I've got a few clips. Let's see which one I'm going to tee up first. These are some of the things that I saw, that I found during the week that I thought were interesting. You know, some of it relates to Australia, but let me play this clip of an Australian senator talking about central bank digital currencies in the last week.
Around the world have been relentless in their push for digital currency and digital ID. Now, I have continually warned here in this place that this is a recipe for disaster. What happens when your data is hacked? What happens when the government blocks your access to money or services as punishment for stepping out of line, like Nigel Farage? There's an example. What happens when you exceed your carbon limit and you discover that your ability to buy and sell is suddenly cut off? People who value freedom, and I hope that's most of us here, we will resist the push to digitize our lives, our identity, and our money. We must resist. While we still have cash, that form of currency that can be accessed without being under the prying, all-seeing eye of the state, we still remain free people. This freedom must not be taken, and it must not be surrendered by the people. We must hold on to cash.
I think that guy must be a wog. He must be. He loves his cash. He's like me. He loves his cash. I agree. I think we need to hang on to cash. I don't necessarily agree that we can never have a CBDC, or we should never have one. I just don't want, I would never want that to be the only thing. My problem with a CBDC is if somehow that is the only thing that anyone's ever allowed to use, you know? So, yeah, I definitely want to make, I would love there to, you know, for there to still be cash in the future. I like the the usability of cash. If you know, we have blackouts, or you know, there's a problem with the internet, you know, you can still pay for goods. We had, you know, and I've brought this up countless times, but in Australia in the last, I think maybe a couple of months ago, we had the Optus outage, and those people who had Optus couldn't pay for things because the internet was down, and therefore they could not use their card to pay for things. Wouldn't you hate to be in that situation where you run out of toilet paper and you can't buy toilet paper? That'd be terrible, wouldn't it? So we need to keep cash, because at the very least, you know, if there's no toilet paper, well, not Australian cash anyway. Our cash is plastic, so not very useful for that sort of thing. But you could at least go down to the shops and buy some toilet paper. Okay, so I also found this clip during the week of our friend at the our good friend Klaus Schwab, or as we like to call him, Darth Schwab.
Dans ce nouveau monde, on doit accepter une transparence, et je dirais même une transparence totale. Tout va être transparent. Et il faut s'habituer, il faut se comporter ainsi. Ça devient, comment dirais-je, intégré dans votre personnalité, mais si on n'a rien à cacher, il ne faut pas avoir peur.
Sure, if you've got nothing to hide, what's the problem? We can just have glass doors on public toilets. You got nothing to hide, what's the problem? What a dick that guy is, eh? Who put that guy in charge? Like, a few years ago, I'd never heard of this dude. And it just seems like this guy somehow is like dictating policy, you know, for the world. Somehow just out there, just throwing shit out there. You don't need privacy. You don't need privacy. Don't worry about privacy. And then what we had is this guy. I've only heard him speak like a couple of times, but I like what he says. He's an Australian senator. And he put in his 2 cents about the World Economic Forum.
1971 by Klaus Schwab. The World Economic Forum is steeped in authoritarianism and Marxist ideology. It's an ideology which is creeping into governments across the world. To quote Schwab himself when speaking about the Canadian Parliament, "We penetrate the cabinets. I know that half this cabinet, even more than half, are actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. It's true in Argentina, it's true in France, now with the president who is a young global leader," end quote. The World Economic Forum promotes globalist issues such as climate change, so-called systemic racism and sexism, and creating an online digital identity. However, closer inspection reveals the World Economic Forum is an anti-capitalist, anti-free market organisation that seeks to subvert Western values and political processes. And they are very organised and very well funded. Their message is designed to appear harmless when in fact the ideology that underpins it is revolutionary and destructive. They train aspirational leaders in their ideology and help them make connections in spheres including politics, business and the arts. The World Economic Forum has consistently advocated for the harshest and most extreme COVID measures possible, including lockdowns, mandatory vaccinations, vaccine passports and mask mandates, despite these policies assaulting many of our basic liberties. At the centre of the World Economic Forum's ideology is stakeholder capitalism. Essentially, This is a theory that traditional free market capitalism ignores the dangers posed by climate change, and so the government must enforce restrictive policies to save the environment, even if that means less wealth. Why then are the forum's criticisms of capitalism always directed at Western nations rather than the great polluters such as China and India? The forum believes that your freedoms should be minimised to prevent the imminent climate catastrophe, the one that's coming for 10 years in the last 50 years, by the way. The central theme of the World Economic Forum's material is what they call the Great Reset, which is Klaus Schwab's term for the opportunity the pandemic has presented to reimagine and reinvent the economic policies of the West. The term comes from Schwab directly himself with his 2020 book entitled The Great Reset. In a now deleted video titled 8 Predictions for the World in 2030, the World Economic Forum claimed that you'll own nothing and you'll be happy, a slogan that hits the same dystopian note as work makes you free and ignorance is strength. You don't have to be a political philosopher to figure out that if you own nothing, the state owns everything. There's a word for this. It's called communism. The World Economic Forum and its affiliates shamelessly promote the abolition of private property, a central facet of Karl Marx's demented utopian ideology which led to the deaths of tens of millions of people worldwide in the 20th century. To quote Margaret Thatcher, quote, "Communism never sleeps, never changes its objectives, and nor should we." No matter how sophisticated the World Economic Forum tries to make the abolition of private property around the world sound, the fantasies of Karl Marx always lead to the crushing of individuals' liberties and lives and the expansion of the state's tyranny and power. It is imperative that we pay close attention to the World Economic Forum and do all that we can to preserve liberty and reduce government intrusion in our lives. And if we fail to do so, the anti-democratic forces in the West will continue to march on, and we may wake up to an Australia that we no longer recognise. Australians deserve to know the extent to which the World Economic Forum's influence and infiltration of our country and how far it has gone, and we're going to find out.
We're going to find out. I wonder how we're going to find out. I'm genuinely interested to know what's being proposed here. How are they going to find out? I'm interested. I'm listening. Got my attention, Senator. You got my attention. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit disappointed in what I've seen in the last week. When we had Australia Day on Friday last week, I'm disappointed by what I saw from big companies that have a lot of influence. Big companies that make a lot of money off Australians. I'm disappointed how they're running with it. You can't. I don't like the idea of taking away this day that all of my life I remember. We've always celebrated Australia Day with a barbecue, friends, family. For that. And for that to be attacked, but not head on, like it's this sort of passive aggressive attack where it's sort of happening, but it's not happening. Yeah, I like the idea of Australians just having a barbecue, celebrating Australia Day. Celebrating, what we have. But hey, look, maybe the day is not the right day. Maybe they need to change the day. I don't know. It doesn't really bother me, to be honest with you, whether it's a different day or not. I like the idea of having a national day that we all just say, hey, this is our day, Australia Day. We celebrate being Australian, whether you're born here or whether you came here from somewhere else. The idea is that everyone is celebrating Australia because it's a lovely place to live, and we want to make sure that it remains that way moving forward. Now, what else have I got here? Well, you know, this is. Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example of what, why. Well, I'll play the video. Hey, I'll play the video and I'll let you guys have a chuckle.
Everybody's here. Bit of a prank on our brother Russ.
Yep. Oh, look at that.
Basically, ideas. We're plumbing his whole house with beer. And this guy's going to come home and it's going to get awesome. I don't think he's dusted under there for months.
Camera. Little camera in there. We've got a shoe cam down here.
Yeah, just a pretty simple setup.
Whoa, it's like cold beer too, look.
He's going butter. No way.
Oh my gosh. Got no fresh water anywhere.
Here come the overalls.
It's filming it all on his phone.
It actually tastes really good. Did it come?
Yeah, that's it.
Here it goes.
Holy. There's like 10 kegs of beer under this mug. Buddy of mine, boy!
You know what? I don't even know that if that's Australian or New Zealand. I can't even tell the accent. I'm pretty sure it's Australian. Pretty sure it's Australian. But yeah, that's epic. Absolutely epic. Yeah. Speaking of epic, if anyone was watching the Australian Open on Sunday, they like at the end. Oh, by the way, an Italian won the Australian Open. How amazing is that? If it's not an Australian winning the Australian Open, at least it's an Italian. Fantastic. Although, like when I saw the guy, it's like, yeah, I don't know how Italian that guy is. I think he's like he must be someone who's gone and moved to, or he was born in Italy at least. But yeah. Anyway, so they had the Australian Open, and the Italian guy won, and they were about to present everything, and this was the crowd's reaction to our Prime Minister.
On behalf of Tennis Australia, I'd like to welcome Victorian Governor, Her Excellency, the Honourable Professor Margaret Gardner, the Australian Prime Minister, the Honourable Anthony Albanese, the Deputy Victorian Premier, the Honourable Ben Carroll. Thank you. The Victorian Minister for Tourism, Sports and Major Events, Steve Demopoulos.
I love it. Everyone's booing and the guy goes, thank you. Thank you. Hey, look, it's probably wasn't a great moment for the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, to have like a stadium full of people booing him. Probably not great. However, let's just bear in mind that those tickets, those tickets for the Australian Open Grand Final, the Australian Open Final are, I think they're pretty expensive. So probably not his, the core demographic of people that usually vote for him. Probably the higher income earners that that were at that final. And having said that, earlier in the week, the Labor government came out with a new policy where there were some tax cuts that were slated for to come into place on the 1st of July this year. So some tax cuts for higher income earners. Like I think it would affect people earning up to $200,000, but it would help the higher income earners because this was a part of 3 stages of tax cuts that have happened over the course of the last few years. The first couple of stages were for lower income earners. They helped lower income earners, and obviously by way of that scaled tax system also helped higher income earners. But these tax cuts were for higher income earners. So they've decided to change the nature of those tax cuts, and I think now they're only going to go up to $150,000 is where they stop. And I think, and I'm not sure, but I'm not sure if they get worse or not. I don't know the exact figures, but I think that might have been, that might have been why everyone there was booing. All the high income earners who go to the Australian Open were booing. Okay. Now I've got a clip here from this is the final clip, and then I'm gonna see if anyone has any questions. But we've got Vivek Ramaswamy, who was a presidential candidate, who has after a poor showing in one of the state votes that they do, I think they call them primaries, he decided to step down and support Trump. He decided to suspend his campaign, I think was the words he used, and support Trump. So I'm just going to play this. Let me bring this up.
See, the American Revolution was fought over the idea. The part I left out about the deep state is the people who are believing that they need to drain the lifeblood out of the politicians. The most sinister part of it is they believe they're doing it not even for their own good, but for the good of humanity and for the country. They believe that the elected representatives. Yes, exactly. It is a noble lie that has to be told that we live in a democracy.
So even if you call them deep state, they'd be like, "What do you mean? I'm just trying to help people."
I think it's even one step than that. I know what you mean, and you could think that about me, but
I know I'm doing the right.
But I know I'm doing the right thing, and so I'm going to do it anyway. And see, that's what the American Revolution was fought for.
We got to stop using the word deep state.
I agree. I call it the permanent state, shadow government, but I call it the managerial class because it's not even about the state.
It starts to sound so conspiratorial. I really think
the managerial class. That's interesting that he uses that terminology because there was a book that I read not too long ago. What was it called? The Machiavellians, and they were taught. Like in this book, this guy talks about the managerial class, and that's what we've got these days. We've got like managerial class, and we've got the collusion between oligarchs and government. But this book was written, I think, in 1945, by the way, or around that time. Interesting book. Anyway, I'll get back to this guy.
And it's not even about conspiratorial. It's really about this idea that there are these people with nefarious intent.
Right.
And when we remove ourselves
from individual and nefarious action, it's something. It's a systematic phenomenon.
Because you force a person who believes they're doing good.
Right.
Will not
believe the means are justified.
It's not talking about me. Can't be talking about me. I'm doing good for my people.
I'm doing what's right, and that's what you have to understand. Is these people believe that they're doing what's right for humanity.
This is good.
And for most of human history, now as I said, the American Revolution was fought for. Now you take a historical view. For most of human history,
make an American Revolution point because I'm still a little.
So I'm going to come to. I'm bringing that in here. Pre-American Revolution, for most of human history, the view was, okay. The idea that you get to speak your mind openly as long as I get to in return, or the idea that we the people cause a government to come into existence that's accountable to us, where every one of us has a voice and vote that counts equally in like this weird democratic process where we count up votes and decide who's in charge and you get to vote them out. That's nutty, right? What the people would demand would cause humanity itself to cease to exist. That's how stupid people are, is the kinds of decisions they would make. So the American Revolution was fought on, the 1776 was based on one idea, which is that for better or worse, we the people still decide who governs.
So it wasn't just an American Revolution, it was a revolution of thought.
It was fundamentally a revolution of thought, absolutely, which echoed a little bit and mutated a little bit to get to the French Revolution in 1789. But let's just talk about the American Revolution, which was I think the OG version of this. And the intellectual predecessors of it were like John Locke. It started in Europe. But our founding fathers, they weren't the most, I mean, they were brilliant people, but they weren't the originators, but they were the implementers of a vision of Enlightenment thought that caused the United States to come into existence.
They had a juvenile enough system that they could implement these ideas.
That's right. That's right. And so that's what the American Revolution was fought for. And so then we have to accept that we're the weird ones, actually, we as in America. Because for most of human history in most countries, even many across the world today, those that haven't followed America's example, that's how it's done. And so what you're seeing right now isn't this devious, new, sinister conspiracy theory.
It's a revert to the norm.
It's just a revert to the norm. It's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's just the natural historical tendency. So we live in this anomaly, but right now this is just reverting to the norm of all of human history.
I saw you talking at when you were stumping for Trump in New Hampshire, and you likened it to the American Revolution, and I rolled. Because I didn't understand contextually what you were talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. I probably didn't explain it.
No, it's not about explaining. It's like you said, in these short amounts of time, it's very hard to break down an idea this sophisticated.
That's so interesting. Like I hadn't thought of it that way either. That all this freedom and liberty we've had, you know, in the last 50, 70 years, it's an anomaly. It's if you look back in history, people have not had the freedom and the opportunity. Like, it's freedom and opportunity, because I guess people who are just like living out, you know, living by themselves out in the countryside somewhere and not really being, you know, affected by people, I guess they're pretty free. But like opportunity, it's like we got freedom and opportunity now. And and I guess that's what's at stake. The freedoms we have and the opportunity we have. So I guess that's what we're here for. We're here for that revolution, aren't we? We're here for that crypto revolution, we're banking, and I mean, excuse the poor phrasing, but we're banking on the crypto revolution, you know, working out, going ahead, because we need, there needs to be something that stands in the way of what I believe are nefarious forces, even though, like Vivek was saying in that clip, that the people doing it might be doing it from a place of, I'm doing it to help, even if they think I'm not trying to help, I'm going to do it anyway. So it doesn't mean that we don't have to try and defend what we have now, which I think is pretty good. You know, I think what we have right now is pretty good. But on that note, I'd like to thank everyone in the chat who came along for this short but sweet stream, and and participated in the 10-question quiz. Should we do it again next week? Can you give me some homework? Are you going to give me some homework? Do we do it next week, or do we just go back to the regular thing? Leave your if you're replay gang, leave something in the comment section, hey, just type something. It's good for the algorithm. And click the thumbs up, please. I'd appreciate that. I will see you guys. I'll see you guys next week. All right. So take care of yourselves. Peace.
You're late to work. Who gives a fuck? It's your life.